Good evening, friends, and welcome to a very interesting session with Desh Kapoor ji. Welcome, Desh.
Thank you so much, Jaidev.
Yeah, the point number one, Desh, is that an American national has been arrested by the name of Matthew Van Dyke, and this is the arrest was done by the NIA, and he has been accused of crossing Myanmar illegally via India to train ethnic armed groups there, and some banned groups in India too. So this is, it's a very serious case, for internal security of India. And some say he's a filmmaker. He has made several short documentaries. He has taken part in several wars like Libya, Syria, etc. And what is very concerning is, he has been training these insurgent groups. And what do you make of this? Have you gone through this article?
You're right. Yeah, I did. And, it's very common for the veterans who have fought in the foreign wars, different theaters like Libya, Iraq, Ukraine, uh, to do these kind of, either freelance work or work through the intelligence agencies to do these kind of stuff, right? So there is a blurring of line between the private military contractors like this and the others uh, who work with the intelligence agencies. And the thing that is most disturbing is that Mizoram is like you need a protective area permit to get into like Mizoram and most of those areas where like he has been. Not only has he been there without those permits, actually on tourist visa, but he has been able to smuggle things like drone, electronic jamming, and a precision strike, like warfare or weapons, like along with it. And these drones were actually supplied from Europe, and they have been, being supplied to the insurgents or to the terrorists in the northeast area. Now, this becomes very, very important because, for so many months now, almost a year and a half, the opposition has been, pushing and asking PM Modi to go and travel to Northeast. So it almost seems like a coordinated effort that there you have this this whole electronic jamming, drones, and all these things put together in the hands of terrorist organizations, which are trained by Ukraine, veterans and a US veteran. Uh, and Ukraine has been extremely successful in using drones, against Russia. So they are not, they can't be taken lightly, right? Now, all these guys have been, setting the stage for those kind of attacks. And here is opposition, especially Congress Party, pushing, and also the journalists, pushing the PM to actually go there. So the question that one needs to ask is, was it just a innocent happenstance that both of them were talking? Like one was actually creating the narrative, the other one was creating the entire foundation to attack, or was it a coordinated thing? Uh, the coincidences now are way too many, where the opposition, India's so-called opposition, talks and brings out the narratives which actually strengthen and which empower India's enemies, like the terrorist organizations in Northeast, in Pakistan, and Bangladesh, to actually attack India or the Indian Prime Minister. See, um, you can have opposition to a political opposition to your prime minister, but you cannot use these kind of methods to actually try to say we want to eliminate the prime minister, a sitting prime minister. This is uh, unacceptable in a democracy. But that is what these guys were trying to do, right? So there is an entire vulnerability that India has in that area, right? In terms of how these guys are using the drones, the ISR, the sabotage know-how, and like trying to put that all together to attack India there. So it is, I mean, it's presented as if it is a local grievances and all that. Like you'll remember sometime back, there was an attack also on the Meiteis via drones and all those things. And some people had denied that there was any drones. There were. So there is this, push to actually create some kind of a religious thing while, trying to create a quote unquote Christian nation there itself, which includes some part of the Indian territory, some part of the Myanmar territory, and some part of the Bangladeshi territory. That is what Sheikh Hasina had said, that somebody from the US had approached her saying that we want a Christian nation there. So, so the evidence is far too powerful now to say that there is a sabotage effort going on, and that is aimed at India and China both. It is sad that China doesn't understand that and wants to play along, because that's what it has done. But from all the different commentators and analysts, they kind of believe that this was like a tip off from Russia, because it involved the Ukrainian veterans as well. So I think there is a lot going on in the Northeast that India needs to really take care of, because it's not just Bangladesh, it's not just China, it is also US and now Ukraine as well. So if so many different players are playing in that field, then one needs to be very clear. And Turkey is not far behind. Turkey is also around. And if the drones were coming from Europe, then I think India needs to ask serious questions from the Europeans as well. What is going on really? So, so I think there is. Now, this doesn't mean that India goes out and breaks everything, all the relationships like that India has. Like it doesn't work like that in these times. Diplomacy and geopolitics is an art of using the scalpel, not the art of using a hammer. So, how you use a scalpel from case to case basis on how to extract the maximum out of your relationships with other countries is what entire diplomacy and geopolitics is all about. So, so India needs to work through that and see how to secure the northeastern border, because that is extremely vulnerable. And one of the things that many people do not know is that that entire area, it's called the Myanmar triad. That entire triad that is there, that area, which includes Laos and Cambodia and Myanmar, and also some parts of the Indian, like Mizoram and Manipur as well. So that entire area is the base for the opium trade, drugs that go on, even fentanyl. So the drugs that go actually all the way to Latin America are sent from this Myanmar triad. And the opium that is actually harvested there is supposed to be one of the best. In fact, the entire story goes back all the way to the opium trade, the opium wars that the British fought. So when actually from India, the opium was actually sent all the way to China, and that's where it was sold. and the opium wars actually started. Like later on, this area became also the source for a lot of opium. And when the Cultural Revolution happened in China, Chiang Kai-shek left China. His people, his groups, actually first came here in this area, and they controlled a lot of trade. And then they moved over to Taiwan, but basically the Chinese had taken over a lot of this trade. So that is why you'll see a lot of Chinese interest in this entire Myanmar, Manipur, Laos, Cambodia area for drugs, and this has always had a very strong relationship with Latin America. So that is how it has always worked, and that is why
Yeah.
this.
So coming back to PM Modi's
Sorry.
security. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Can you?
Yeah, your voice is breaking and your video is breaking.
Oh, like from my side, it is fine.
It's fine. Okay. Okay. It's fine. You are able to hear me.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So we also saw, Terrence Jackson. He was found dead in Dhaka in a hotel. He was a U.S. Special Forces officer, and that also sparked a lot of concern regarding PM Modi's personal security, and also he's Prime Minister Modi ji also sat with Putin in a car in the Chinese summit. So all these put together, they raise questions with regards to the security threat of Prime Minister Modi, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, that is true. And the threat to Prime Minister Modi, in terms of his life, has been there for a long time. Like if you remember, even Bhima Koregaon case that happened, and all those urban naxals were actually left, by the court, uh, like allowed to go scot free, like at that time. But like one of the plots in the Bhima Koregaon case was assassination of PM Modi, of a sitting prime minister. And yet the courts at that time in India did not take cognizance of something as serious as that. Something that, and like they were allowed to, go scot free, and nobody asked any questions actually, despite the fact that the courts actually should have looked at it more seriously. But it is all brushed under like expression, freedom of expression, and all those things. It's not like you try and do this kind of thing in the US, and you'll be behind the bars in a matter of like few hours. Like this doesn't fly in any other country except India. Like something needs to be done very seriously. You cannot threaten a member of parliament and specifically the leader of the country. You just cannot do that. But in India, it happens very, very frequently, and this needs to stop. And in terms of the actual threat that is there, like there are all the foreign actors who are today, in such a mess right now. And the only person who's actually making any sense of this whole situation is actually PM Modi and his cabinet. Like he may not have done all the things that one would have liked, him to do in terms of the different, actions or initiatives that he could have taken, but the kind of initiatives that he has taken have at least ensured that India is safe and secure. Today, we can see that even the best radars in Qatar and like Bahrain and like in the Gulf countries are not safe from drones like from Iran. And yet in India, the drones from Pakistan could not do anything. Even the missiles could not do anything. So, if Israel, if US, air defense is not able to handle the drones and missiles from Iran, one can, like draw a good comparison with what kind of air defense India would have had during Operation Sindhu to actually thwart all those things. That's not a joke. So the person who has made that actually possible is PM Modi. Because I remember, when Kargil war was going on, you know, like like we were told that like some of the like battalions did not even have the proper ponchos. Some of us actually saved the money and bought it from the like local stores, the army surplus stores, and sent it from here because like they didn't, like that was a situation in India, despite the fact that Indian companies actually export weapon systems or armed defenses to other countries like in Latin America and other countries, but they were not even selling that to the Indian armed forces, which they could have. I mean, like I know that there are companies in like UP in Kanpur and other places which actually do a fantastic business in all these things. But Indian Army was not buying because Indian Army was being ruled by those cabals who wanted to like take money from the bribery and all the bribes. So situation was extremely bad from that time where when the soldiers did not even have proper gear to a point where India has one of the best air defense systems is a long journey. It's not a small thing.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see how things progress because globally it's a very volatile situation, especially after Israel hit the Iran gas facility, and that's a very volatile situation because one has to wonder what happens to the oil prices. It has already crossed $100 per barrel, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, situation. See, the thing is that as I was saying, the air defense system has not been like working as well. Now, the problem is that the radars and the eyes that the US and all these Gulf countries had in terms of the interceptors and radars, they have been massively compromised in the entire Gulf countries. So yes, as far as the US is concerned, it has a fantastic, set of weaponry in terms of the planes and all those things and missiles that it can hit, and it is doing that. But on the other hand, uh, like Iran also has a whole lot of drones and technology, and also the backing of like Russia and even China in terms of like what they can offer in terms of technology and other things. So when you look at that, this this kind of situation is not going to end that soon because now, uh, as far as Iran is concerned, when it looked at how Iraq was brought down, after Saddam Hussein, it actually created an entire framework where the country could run on autopilot. And when the main leader was brought down, everyone, all the commands had their own instructions on how to proceed, and they are independent. They need not depend on any instruction from the central command. That is how they were built. So if the central command was brought down, the idea was that there was going to be no end to the war. Like it was going to be on autopilot and will keep on continuing until each and every command has done what it can. And all those, and that is the most dangerous aspect of this whole thing, that there is like very little central authority that can actually check what is going on. The only thing that uh, they have been able to actually do anything about is the Strait of Hormuz and which ships actually go across. That's the only thing that they are, trying to regulate, and that is why the Chinese and the Indian ships have been able to go through. Almost like over 28 ships, like were able to go through from India. Even Tulsi Gabbard, like in her testimony to the Congress, has actually said that the Chinese and Indian ships and some other countries have been able to go through. So uh, for India, I think the oil India can get from Russia and from other places, but the problem is going to be the natural gas. The natural gas is a big problem because, and unfortunately, both Iran as well as Qatar are losing their LNG depots and storage areas. So if that is what is going to be attacked, and like those are the huge like storages, like storage facilities which are going to be attacked, then there is going to be a shortage of LNG across like everything. And once there is a shortage of LNG, which even Taiwan actually, is going to be impacted with, right, or impacted by, and that means that the chip manufacturing and all those things will also be impacted. Now, here we are talking about things which actually go out of the Strait of Hormuz. We have not talked about, in fact, hardly anyone talks about things that come in through the Strait of Hormuz, because the entire Gulf countries get their food from outside, and that food actually comes from the Strait of Hormuz. There are other ways, now which they are exploring through land in Saudi Arabia, coming from the Red Sea. That is also one of the ways. But bringing an entire ship full of food versus bringing trucks across the entire desert are two different propositions. They have food storages for 6 to 8 months, but not. But I don't think they can have fresh food, vegetables and fruits for such a long time. So there is going to be that, or even like meat. So there is going to be shortage like after some time. So so it's a very life threatening situation if the food and the water, because the desalination plants were also hit. If the food and water are going to be impacted, then it is going to be a very serious situation. So when we actually look at Strait of Hormuz, we need to look at both the sides, things that are going out and things which are coming in through Strait of Hormuz. People are only interested in things which are going out. Nobody is caring about how Gulf countries will be impacted because of lack of food.
Yeah. So coming to the last point, Deshi, is that now Dhurandhar 2 has opened to a huge success. But what is very interesting is that Congress leaders have criticized this film, uh, you know, uh, saying that it's a tool of the BJP's political propaganda, and by distorting facts on national security and communal harmony. And Congress MP Tariq Anwar, he has labeled the film a product of a specific agenda by the BJP. He objected to its portrayal of the late gangster Atiq Ahmad as linked to Pakistan's ISI and terrorist organization, calling it an attempt to malign these figures. So a lot of things, the Congress ahead of the five-state election which we have in India. So what is going on? Congress is really, really, disturbed by the Dhurandhar 2 success.
Yeah, I think they are disturbed about everything. They were disturbed about emergency. They were disturbed about Kashmir files, Bengal files, vaccine wars, everything. There is a whole genre of movie that is started. Like the way I would put it is where the facts become the horror. When you present the facts themselves tell the horror story. So there is no need to embellish it. There is no need to, have special music effects behind it or say certain things. You just present the facts the way they are. Kashmir Files presented the facts the way they were. Bengal files presented facts the way they were. Dhurandhar 1 actually presented the facts the way they were. In fact, people from Leari actually were saying how true that was. Now, Dhurandhar 2 also is doing the same thing. Now, like when 2611 happened, from every reporting that has happened, right? In terms of how I was listening to like one of the prosecutors who said how like the charge was not being put on the entire like Pakistan itself. They were just putting the charge on just like couple of like people itself, so that it remains very local. The whole story about that book 2611 RSS ki Sazish, within a matter of days coming out, and the general secretary at the is saying actually inaugurating that book or releasing that book. And the entire background of how 2611 happened and how India did not take any action, how the entire fake currency business was going on. When you look at that, like it almost feels very clearly that 2611 may actually have been a collaboration between Congress and the ISI. It's as stark as that. When you are the culprit, when you are actually in every which way standing with the adversary, then obviously it looks like a propaganda movie and it's something to malign you. Like either don't do those actions, don't do those activities, or don't crib like when somebody actually calls it out. Because that they have had a habit, they've had a situation where they could say whatever the heck they wanted to say, but they wouldn't allow anyone else to call them out on their face. Now, like it is happening. Their problem, when they say that freedom of expression is being impacted or harmed and all those things, they are still saying whatever they want to say. They are abusing the PM, they are abusing the Hindus, they are abusing the Sanatan Dharma all the time. Like nobody has shot them, nobody has put them in jail, nobody has beheaded them the way the Hindus are beheaded all the time. And yet they have the gall to say that the freedom of expression is harmed today or hurt today. Their problem is not that their freedom of expression is hurt. Their problem is that others also have the freedom of expression now. That is the problem. Because they could shut you up completely and not allow you to say anything. All these 75 years. The commentators, the historians, the analysts who would say anything, like were not even allowed to talk. So for them, it might look as like propaganda because they have like no answer to the actual facts, because they are facts. If all those terrorists actually like come out with religious slogans or religious like verses like from their scripture, too bad. Like you can't say they are trying to malign a religion or they are trying to malign like one group or one community. Like there is a serious need to have a reflection, a serious introspection, but that is not what is going to happen. So as far as Atiq Ahmed was concerned, he was a criminal, like he was a gangster. And like everybody knows his like involvement or engagement with like the terror networks and ISI and all that. So well, too bad. I mean, like I said, when facts actually are so damning that they look like horror story, then the person who actually orchestrated that horror feels like he's being targeted, because they have no power to shut you up, because you finally have the ability to speak up. They had shut everything up. None of the like movies, ever like talked about the wrongs that happened. ISI was shown as like saints in intelligence like agencies and all those things. Like they were lovers and they were saints and all those things, which never was. To even call them human, the kind of crimes that they have done in Operation Searchlight and Kashmir and all those things, to even call them human is a disgrace.
Yeah, and in fact, with regards to the West Bengal election as well, it is very crucial for NDA, isn't it, to win, if possible, against Mamata Banerjee.
Yeah, I mean, Mamata Banerjee has actually orchestrated she's unleashed an entire, terror campaign throughout all these years, where like she has gone at like what is it that she hasn't done? From Sandesh Khali to to targeting of the central agencies, like targeting the CEC, targeting the army and all those things, like even targeting and humiliating the Indian president. She has left nothing that is above board anymore now. Like it's a disgrace that like what has happened to Bengal, and like it's just sad to see where Bengal is today from where it was at one time. Now there is a new, if Mamata Banerjee comes again, there is no future left for the Hindu girls anymore, because their destiny is like going to be set like to be a slave of some jihadi at some point. Because like I'm not like saying something like radical, I'm just saying that is the destiny of like most of the girls today in Pakistan, the Hindu girls in Pakistan, and same with Bangladesh. I mean, like Hindu girls that like there are so many stories today where they were like marrying and going in a car, and they stopped the car and took the girl out and like ran away with her. It's as blatant as that. So so they may think that they have dreams for the future, but they have only one destiny. If Mamata Banerjee comes again, and that is the same that is shared by today, like by the girls, the Hindu girls in Pakistan and Hindu girls in Bangladesh.
Yeah. So that was a wonderful session, Deshji, and thanks for coming, and hope to see you.
Thank
Jai Hind and Jai Shri Ram.
you. Thank you.